Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to episode 18 of Maker That Money. This is the, I guess I'll call this a podcast, a conversation now where two maker entrepreneurs, that's guys that got their start as makers, decided to take the plunge and create a business out of it. And we love talking about taking your maker enterprise to the next level.
Yeah, we do.
With me today, as always, I've got my trusty sidekick, Andrew at 3D Gloop, Andrew Mayhall, captain of the Empire of Sticky. Good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. As we say,
Can't
always,
believe it's already Friday.
It's already Friday again, but I love Fridays for that reason. You know, it's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Speaking of looking forward to stuff, I've been looking forward to this for weeks while we've been trying to get him scheduled, but we have the amazing Mr. Fotis Mint with us this morning. Now, for those of you that are with us that don't know who Fotis Mint is, he is a, dare I say, prolific contributor to the 3D printing, 3D modeling, and CAD community. He does some of the most amazing work that I have seen, and he is
incredible.
I say prolific because he's just constantly cranking out just the top quality stuff. Fotis, welcome to our humble little conversation here. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing, my friend?
Thank you for your nice words, first of all, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah,
I'm not that nice, you know.
Oh, he's being modest. He's a very nice guy. I know you don't do a lot of interviews, but I appreciate you taking the time with us because we have a lot of people that follow along that have, you know, the business in the maker world can mean a number of different things, and obviously we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what a substantial a business opportunity there is around CAD modeling and all that stuff, and who better to hear from than one of the best in that. You have a very large Patreon following that I know you're constantly trying to keep happy and all that stuff. We're going to talk about that stuff in the future. But obviously you've been an artist and a 3D modeler for some time. Can you talk about your background and how you got into it, and you know what's your origin story, my friend?
Of course. Well, this whole thing started 6 years ago, around 6 years ago, when I first discovered. Well, I heard it before, but I never seen it up close. I was in an expo and I saw a 3D printer, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is great!" I was stunned that you can make things out of just a piece of plastic, and. After that, well, this is 2014. I'm sorry. After that, 2016, I finally managed to buy one. Actually,
Okay.
It was a Z-Morph SX, I think. It was, it also had tools. You could also do CNC. You could also laser. You could do everything. And well, you know the excitement. You buy a printer and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna make so many things and I'm gonna be rich.
You're gonna be rich. He's gonna be rich. The dollar signs just popped into your eyes. I love it.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna be rich. Yeah, you need lots of work to manage to be rich with just one 3D printer.
Yeah,
but yeah, after a while, I discovered that if you don't design your own things, if you don't start doing exactly the things you want to do without going in platforms and finding other people's work,
right.
Where's the fun? Where's the fun in that? It felt very fun for me to start even in the beginning, working with CAD software and making the first thing. I still remember the first thing I made. I almost cried from happiness when I got it in my hand. I thought that this is too nice. Until a month ago was some guy working somewhere doing nothing, and now I create things out of thin air.
That's such an amazing feeling, isn't it? I remember feeling the same thing.
Best. I wish I could feel it again.
I know, right? You're constantly chasing that high again. Well, it's interesting because I remember, and maybe you do too, Andrew, the first time that I printed something, and it was one thing just to watch the printer do it and like pulled the first print off. And it was like, wow, this is way better than I thought. But it's a whole nother experience, like Fotis is talking about, when you first start learning CAD and you have something that went from your brain into a computer, and then now you have this tangible thing. And so it's like this really just incredible tool. And I haven't had that experience with any other tool that I have. I don't get excited about my drill press or my, any of that other stuff the way that I did with the 3D printer. So
also I have to give huge credit to the YouTubers.
Yeah.
Huge credit to everybody that shares information online, teaches people how to make stuff. Imagine we didn't have the internet right now and trying to learn these things. It's impossible to learn it on your own. I started this without any CAD background, artistic background. I can't sketch. My math are terrible. 1 + 1.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah. So just by looking at tutorials, I learned Fusion. I suck at Fusion. Okay, I'm an amateur, but still I managed to make some things. Like I made props. I made 2-3 swords.
Yeah.
I made some, if you look at my old stuff in my manufacturer, I made lots of, things that look cool, but still something was missing for me. I mean, I didn't exactly, I couldn't exactly do what I wanted to do. So back then I was in my mini factory. First of all, my mini factory is family to me.
Okay.
So many good people in there. And the whole community we had then, well, it's a little changed now because we had a system called Studios, and lots of artists were there, and we were sharing models all the time. And I don't know if you know Printed Obsession. It's Morgan Mori.
No,
he makes
I don't
miniatures.
Okay, he's a miniature.
He's an excellent sculptor, by the way.
Okay.
I mean, this guy told me that if you want to do whatever you want, you have to start sculpting, and he introduced me to Zbrush. So this is how it all started for me. The first time I threw a sphere up there and start, carving it. It was, you see, I have goosebumps. It was the best thing ever. I said, okay, forget everything else. This is what you do. So I never stopped doing that. It's pure freedom and pure creation. I mean, you do whatever you want. The way you want it. The whole software is a canvas without restrictions, because CAD has restrictions.
A canvas, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had lots of issues with CAD software for the things that I make because I wanted to do somewhere and I got an error. You can't do that. Well, I want to do that. No, you can't.
CAD's very rigid.
Well, why? So hold on a second. Back up a second. You have no artistic training whatsoever. You're not a sketcher. And you're not that's what I'm saying too, right?
It's
so
mind-blowing.
He is self-taught, ladies and gentlemen.
I couldn't tell the difference
digital
between
sculpting.
Picasso and a car crash.
Wow. And no sculpting, no traditional sculpting background, none of that stuff.
That's
and
incredible.
So this is all just stuff that you've picked up, and it's been a passion. And guys, if you have not, first of all, if you're with us on our weekly YouTube stream, I have the link up above for Fotis's Patreon, so you can go see it. We'll put it in the show description as well after the fact for those listening later. But patreon.com/Fotismint, FOTISMINT, common spelling. You can see what he does, and the level that we are talking, the level of detail that we are talking about is incredible, and how quickly he is able to achieve that. So I think your current tool of choice is Zbrush. Is that the package that you're currently using? And you've been working with Zbrush for quite some time now, right?
I started Zbrush on September 2017.
Okay. So you've seen it through since I don't know when Zbrush first got its start, but you've been with it for quite some time then.
Well, Zbrush is a very old software. But this is usually your go-to for sculpting. You can also do it on Blender, but people that just do sculpting would definitely go to Zbrush because it has way better tools and features that Blender doesn't have yet. I wish it had, but it doesn't, and I hope they will reach to the same level at some point.
Yeah. Now, Blender being, for those that don't know, a very popular CAD software that's open source and is used for a number of different purposes outside of just sculpting too. I've seen people do some incredible things from motion graphics and just general, CAD work to sculpting. So it's a nice package, and I think it's a good place to get your start because the price is right. But I hear what you're saying. Sometimes when you want some of those next level tools, there's better stuff. And speaking of next level, we've got some other fantastic Zbrush and just modelers in general with us. We got Chelsea with us in the chat this morning. Good morning, Chelsea. Good to see you. And everybody else. Everybody's very excited in the chat. We've got
Wexter's here.
Wexter is here.
Yes.
Speaking of other prolific sculptors, another great one. I love the community that exists around this space.
I'm so crazy about the community lately. I was always a loner, but until I started hanging out in American streams, especially lately, I'm a changed person. Seriously,
he's a convert.
I'm having fun. Seriously, I'm having fun.
Yeah, Grant from 3D Musketeers in the chat is saying Zbrush is not an easy to learn package. Would you agree with that, Fotis? Is it a steep learning curve on that?
Well, first time you launch it, it's like
Is it overwhelming?
You feel stupid. You
really?
Don't understand.
There's just
you don't understand
too much.
Single thing.
Wow.
But you can watch
that
Wexter's beginner's guide, which is a very simple way to start with the basics.
Yeah.
And then it will not look that unbelievable. But yeah, in order to start in the beginning to understand how this thing works, it needs definitely a month to learn the basics. It's very after you learn them, it all makes sense. The difficult controls are there for a reason. It's not like they try to torture you. When you manage to understand those controls, you will see that it helps. It helps you work faster. You don't understand it in the beginning, but when you learn it, you see that, oh, this is why it sucks.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it's very overwhelming to see all these things around. I mean, there are things right now that I still don't know what they do in that software because I didn't need them or whatever.
Sure.
But there are so many things you can do with that software. I mean, there are some huge sculptors out there like Michael Pavlovich, who does know every single inch of that software. But for me, I still learn. I still, and I will keep learning about this software for years to come.
That's fantastic.
Cool.
So we're getting some great questions in the chat. I hope you don't mind if I just pummel you with them, Fotis here. The first one I wanted to touch on was from Adam with Powerbuilt 3D. Hey Adam, how's it going? How long did you spend learning sculpting before you started sharing your models, and then how long after that until you felt comfortable charging people for models?
That's a nice question. Well,
a little soft toss to start.
From 2017 until 2019, I released 120 models for free on my mini factory. Around 120 models for free. After that, Patreon happened, which I do not consider a store. I don't consider it like I charge people. If I did charge people, I would charge everything individually, or I would take the fan art and sell it in stores.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay. It's not fan art. We're not calling it fan art.
The moment you join, what?
You're not calling it fan art. What you do then? So carry on. The moment you join.
No, yeah. The moment you join, you immediately get everything. Everything I made from 2019 until today. So it's not like I do monthly releases and I charge you for these releases.
Yeah.
The moment you give me your support, you just get my appreciation with all my models.
And is that a common text? I don't use Patreon regularly.
I don't think that's common.
Is it not to have the whole back catalog? It depends. So everybody handles it differently.
It depends on the artist. I always kept that. There there might be people that come to me and tell me, dude, don't do that. This is not.
You ruin it for the rest of us.
No, it's not that. I mean, they think I undervalue a lot my models, but this is not this is not the case. I sell my original concepts in my manufactory in the store, but I also give them to you in my higher tier. But for the $5 tier, for example, I give all fan art because I do not sell it elsewhere. I mean, in the store individually. So this is just a reward. So I don't exactly price the reward. I just give all I can.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Right now I have around 1,100 people supporting me. Wow. So this is how can I say how can I complain about that?
Right.
Say, okay, I'm going to raise the prices. There's no reason to raise the prices. People will understand that you just do your best every single day for them and for you, of course, and your family. But if you have a reasonable price, they will stick with you and they will actually appreciate the community. I mean, I have very good community in Discord. I have people that email me every day to thank me for just what I did last night. I released a new model. All that stuff is not, it's not about the money. This thing is not about the money. Okay, I'm not a saint. I'm not Mother Teresa. I want money.
What?
But yeah, newsflash. I'm not. But it's a mutual respect. Okay, I always want to believe in the kindness of the people that join, to understand that this whole package they get is not worth $5. I'm not crazy.
What do you?
Okay.
Yeah. You mean it's worth a lot more than $5, of course, but you don't feel the need.
But I prefer to think that they will understand that and they might support a little longer. Well, if they don't, no hard feelings.
I think that's a really good strategy, and I don't think you see that often. That I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody because again, I don't do. There
are even people that do even worse than me. Okay, there's MZ4250 that has 3,000 miniatures for the last, I don't know, 7-8 years.
Okay,
he gives everything for free.
Wow.
And he has a Patreon, and I think he has around 5,000 patrons right now.
Wow.
People appreciated it, and they support that person.
I think it's great, and I think it's a different perspective on the whole thing that but it takes a lot of trust and it takes a lot of time, I think, to build up that level of community. So it's not to say that one way or another is better. So let me take a step back for anybody that's listening. I think most of the people that are listening right now have a good sense of what Patreon is, but just as a basic primer on it, it's basically a monthly subscription service where you can support artists, and people use Patreon for all kinds of things. It's a fantastic way to release your material and let people support your endeavors, whether it's in art or music or any number of things. And you're able to have different tiers that for different monthly sponsorship amounts, you're able to get different benefits from. And Fotis, I'm looking at yours right now, and like you said, you're just shy of 1,100 patrons, which is phenomenal. That's a very large,
incredible
following. I mean, I know there's larger followings and stuff, but that's all variable too, depending on how much people charge for their subscriptions. But you have 3 tier levels. One of which you have is sold out, which I wanted to ask about in a sec. But this is very clever, by the way, the Peppermint collection. That's $5 a month. You get access to all the models, as Fotis was saying.
All the fan art models. Not my originals. My originals
not the originals.
Are on the $10, yeah.
Okay. And then for 10, you can get all the originals as well, which is a completely trivial cost. I mean, even if you're paying for this for a year or 2 years, like you guys, if you see the quality of the stuff that's in here, there's easily individual models that I would say are worth $120 or $200 or whatever easily. But I love hearing about Fotis's perspective on the business model, that I would much rather be more accessible and allow more people to get in and excited and find good quality material that is valuable to them and exciting to them to print and get more into the hobby. And I think that's just such a great approach. I love that.
Can I say something?
Please.
Also, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Okay. There were many times I got pissed at people coming in, getting everything, put it up for sale somewhere, or coming in, grab everything and leave me a survey. You suck.
What? Who does that?
Exactly.
They would take. Wait. They would sign up for 1 month. They would take everything.
You get everything. Okay.
Yeah, you get everything.
Yeah.
But in the survey leaving, you suck. I didn't like you.
You suck, but I took all your stuff. So you can see that they downloaded everything, or you can tell what
there were times that I said, even with my artist friends, we discuss this a lot all the time, and I'm like, I have to change this thing. I have to do monthly releases only, and bury the back catalog or whatever. But you get you also get too scared to do that, because you think you will lose all your following just by doing that. So I don't want to act. I was always like that. But as time went, in time, I realized that people that are not nice to you, they will not be nice to you either way. So the only thing you're going to do in the end is punish the good people if you do that.
Right.
So why stop doing what many people like? Well, they learned me in a way that they enjoy. So why stop that just because someone ruined my day? And I get very emotional.
Yeah.
If you tell me right now that my work sucks, I will probably turn off the screen and leave.
Well, we're not going to tell you that.
I get it very personal, when someone tells, and if it's not fair, of course, okay? If you just throw me a message and then just go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not speaking about constructive criticism here. But that's the thing. I mean, you can't just do things because someone annoyed you. You have to also consider the people that are there for you all year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Yes.
And respect that, and don't change things drastically just because you had a bad day or a bad week or whatever.
You had a bad experience with one individual, right?
Yeah.
Andrew and I have talked about this pretty extensively. In business, we have this tendency to, whether it's as an artist or as a product creator, obviously that's like we're pouring our soul out in a way. Like, this is a representation of something I designed of me, and it is hard not to take the negativity personally, to maintain the perspective that person, when you look at the bell curve of all the people that buy your stuff, whether it's art or a physical product, these are not representative of the whole. But it is so hard not to let that negative feedback in a way that we just don't allow the positive in, right? It's like you told us, you get emails all the time. Thank you for this amazing stuff. And why do we not allow that to build us up as intensely as the negative feedback brings us down?
The negative feedback is so much stronger than the positive feedback. I don't understand it, but that's what it happens to me. One negative comment can eliminate 50 good ones.
But I think your point about who you're here for is very important to reiterate here, that you're not doing all of these people that love you and support you and see the value and stuff. You're not doing them any favors by allowing these people in. So we talk about self-care and all these things. Like, it's important to protect yourself. Like, I hate that we kind of talk about, you get cynical over time those people are always going to exist. There's always going to be jerks out there that are going to just do this crappy stuff. But as Fotis said, you have to be here for the people that are supporting you, and you have to realize that letting them get to you that way is hurting them, right? And I think that's a really good, healthy way to look at it, Fotis. And I know it's not always easy, but I'm glad to hear that you recognize that. I want to go to another question, if I can, really quick. Filament Frenzy asked, what tips do you have for beginners? I know we had talked about how hard, say, Zbrush or whatever, and maybe Zbrush isn't the best starting point. Maybe it is, and if it is, like you'd mentioned, Wexter's got some good material to start. Like, what's a good, if you were doing it all over again, where would you start?
Hey, Frenzy. Well, if I started all over again,
shout out Tom.
That's a good one. There's a chance. If I started all over again, there's a chance I would start with Blender.
Really?
First of all, because well, if I started and didn't know anything,
okay.
I wouldn't know where I will end up, because Blender has polygon modeling, has sculpting, has rendering, has everything you need in a pack.
Okay.
And that's very important.
Okay.
But it also depends on what you want to do. If, for example, you want to do props, you might want to go to Blender. If you want to do miniatures, you might want to go to Zbrush, because you definitely you will need 99% of sculpting. So it always depends on what you want to make. So if you want to, of course, if you want to do functional things, you will go to Fusion. Okay, no second guess. You will just go there. Or if you want to be more open sourcey and want to go to FreeCAD or whatever else you prefer. But with Zbrush, if you want to start, you have to, first of all, you have to be ready to be committed to it. You need to sacrifice things. You need to sacrifice hanging out for coffee every day. Really need to practice. You really need to practice a lot. When I was learning, I had a day job. I was working for 12 hours and I was learning Zbrush during the night.
It was your night school. Wow.
And repeat.
Wow.
And repeat.
Wow.
I haven't slept.
That's hard.
For 2 years. Yeah, I haven't slept for 2 years. I was going to work. I was like,
well, and you have a little daughter, which can't help your sleep either. So, yeah. Well, like anything, you got to practice. Okay.
Like crazy. I mean, you can watch all the tutorials in the world, but if you don't practice, nothing is going to change.
Okay.
Nothing. I mean, you might think you know things, but if you don't do them with your hand, it's like I give you some clay. Okay. If you don't start trying with it,
right, how
are you going to learn? I can tell you how, but if you don't try it and practice it a lot, you will not advance. You will not be great at it. But like I said, you need to find some very, very simple tutorials in the beginning. Like I told you, the Wexter tutorial, which is very, very well received. I mean, it has 500,000 views, maybe more. I don't know. It's a great video.
I'm gonna put that.
You can just start with Pixelogic, basics videos that they have, and then start advancing to more advanced tutorials in general.
I'm gonna put a link to the Wexter tutorials in after the fact in the show notes for anybody that's listening back that wants to see this and get a good start. Also, any of the other tools we're mentioning, just because we really want to encourage other people to see what we're talking about here and get into it. And Fotis, I think to your point, I think that to anybody getting started, what I'm hearing is the most important thing is to just start doing it, right? Just practice,
exactly.
hone your craft. And so don't let the things that are the barrier, like, oh, I can't afford ZBrush or whatever. There are free tools out there. Find a tool that you can start with and hopefully commit to finding a good series. I'm sure there's plenty of good series on Blender out there and how to get started on that as well. And so I don't think there's
material,
I don't think there's any shame in certainly not any shame in finding free and accessible tools to get yourself started so that you can just keep going. And then as you get better and as you start to reach those limitations, obviously you can start to invest more in that if you decide you want to stick with it. That's a great answer to that. So that's good.
Yeah, we all have the tendency to just talk about something and not actually start doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always love to work with, woodcrafting. I never started, so yeah, it's still a theory. I like it though.
Do it. It's like that Shia LaBeouf. Do it.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Okay.
It's exactly that. Exactly that. I
Yeah.
need a motivation speaker or something.
Perillo says he can't even operate a kitchen blender. I'm with you, buddy. It's more that I don't want to operate a kitchen blender, but
Same.
yeah. Listen, one of the things we have to talk about, Fotis, and I know that this is kind of personal, and so I appreciate your willingness because we did check with you ahead of time. But can you show us your right hand really quick, please?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know this, Fotis has been dealing with some major repetitive stress issues for quite some time now. And it sounds like it's a combination of things. It's not just like a carpal tunnel. You've got tennis elbow. You've got, clinically what's known as a completely
I have
jacked
all
up arm.
sports.
Yeah, all the sports
in my
combined
hand.
into one
Wow.
issues in your
Golf,
arm.
tennis, basketball, football. Yeah, okay.
And yet you are still working through the pain, regularly doing this. And what aren't doctors telling you can't do this because it's continuing to damage your body? Like, this has to be such a challenge and such a struggle for you because you want to do what you love and your body is fighting against you here.
Well, just to say about this, what the doctors say that I have to sit and do nothing for at least 8 weeks. So
It's so hard to do.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Yeah, I would never do that. At least 8 weeks to see a big improvement. Okay, I see improvement every month because I have a guy here that fixes me. He fixes my tendons. He fixes every single spot that it hurts. I mean, I had a swallow 2 years ago here on the wrist, and I went there. I will go again on Monday. But well, you can't stop push. If I tell you to stop right now, can you stop? I mean, you can't
stop, won't stop.
It's my right hand. I can't do this with my left. But I do some breaks from time to time. I take a month off from Patreon. I did one on March. I did one on November. But this year, I also said, when it was New Year's, I said, this year's goal is to only pause a month. So I don't think I will be pausing a lot this year. But this whole physiotherapy thing helps. It brings my wrist to a better spot. It doesn't hurt that much. But when I push it, like I'm pushing it this month, for example, it starts to hurt. I wake up and it feels like you hit me with a sledgehammer or something.
Oh, geez,
Wow.
man. And so you have found some things that help, but it's nothing that's like ever, and this isn't something that's just going to go away. It's
a half measure. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said have you tried, like, I can't imagine what it would be like, just at this point trying to move to using your left hand. Like, that just seems so crazy, especially given the amount of like precision that you need to be able to have for what you do.
If I try to pick my nose right now, I might, with my left, I
might poke your eye.
Take off.
That's how coordinated you are with your left, huh? Okay.
I will do that only if they have to. If my hand dies, completely dies. This is when I will try to do that, because I actually tried. First of all, when this first happened, I was, well, during 2021, early 2021, I was very, very depressed. I had very serious depression issues.
Oh.
This thing happened. Yeah, this thing happened. And I was extremely depressed, because you think that now that you do something that you like.
Yeah,
I mean,
I finally found something you like. Yeah.
Yeah, I started this thing when I was 33 years old. And
right.
Now I'm 39. So I say, well, now that you finally found what you want, you will not have a hand anymore to do it.
It's like taken away from you.
That is
and
so depressing. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and you wasted your hand all these years in all these crappy jobs.
Your prime, your hand was in its prime, and it was wasted. Yeah. Oh my gosh!
And now that you have all it takes, to keep doing this job and do it right and whatever, your hand abandons you, and you're like, why? I went nuts. Fate
is cruel like that. Yeah.
Many times I said I will quit. to my wife. I said, I will quit. I will just go be a salesman again. I was that mad.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wexter has a good idea for you, of course. He says,
I love this idea.
He says you should add another tier to your Patreon where you sculpt with your left hand, and it's called leftovers. And it could be, who knows? I mean, we could get some really amazing abstract art out of that. Who knows?
Typical
Wexter.
humor. Yeah.
Those Croats, yes, we know. We love them. We love them.
Yeah.
My friend, I can't imagine how frustrating and how much adversity you're having to work through with that. Because I mean, I think you think about athletes this happens to, or anything where it's like, this is all you know, or this is your passion, and to feel like your passion's being taken away, but because your body just is saying, nope, not going to do that. You know, are you excited? Are you excited for the thought of maybe there being like future technology or other tool? I mean, I don't even know what that would be. Like other ways for you to be able to sculpt that don't involve using your arm. Sculpting with your
right now.
You're like you'd be like the drummer from Def Leppard of the 3D sculpting world, where you just figure out how to use your feet to sculpt or something, you know? Like
well, we kind of spoke about this yesterday, right? I mean, you said that other things will come, maybe mind
control modeling. Oh, that's
yeah.
But what do you think of that? Is it possible? I mean, we've seen that there's that. You don't like that.
Like that.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I prefer to use my hands to do these things. It's it takes all the pleasure, you know, of creating things just by just thinking about it.
Yeah,
I don't think I would love that. This is why I'm not crazy about VR either. It's also not practical. It's also not practical for me because I would have to sit in a VR for 16 hours a day.
Ugh.
Can you imagine that?
Boy, you'd be like all disconnected. Yeah, that does seem
completely.
Yeah,
I do like AR though. AR might have something going on. Yeah,
I have to look this up. Bill Steele was talking about these new glasses that a company in San Jose is working on. I don't remember the name of the company right now, but amazing AR technology, and they were showing off applications specifically for 3D printing where you could like actually see the model like on a print bed or something before it was even there, but just to get a sense of it in another way. And so starting with that as a sculptor would be really fascinating. Have you used any tools, AR tools, that you've seen or played with them? But you're interested in it.
Well, it's not only for sculpting. Imagine you have, I have a desk that's 2 meters long here, okay? Well, I don't know what the meter is, but you can imagine it's big.
I know what a meter is. Don't be a jerk.
You're American. You don't know what a meter is.
No. So, I've embraced the metric system. I defy the imperial.
Here at Gloop, we're all metric.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you have this desk, okay, and you use this technology, you know, to do CAD on your desk, on your whole desk. That would be so awesome. You know, you could even use a projector to do that thing.
I could see Fotis just up on his desk, and he's like climbing
like
around.
Yeah.
Just full,
you know, the glove.
Immersion. Yeah.
Well, yeah. This whole tech would be very cool. I mean, and it would be here, not in a cyberspace.
Thank you, Vishal. Right. It's Tilt 5 was the company I'm thinking of, but that does the AR stuff. So there's I think we're going to see a lot of interesting development in that field moving forward. I gotta say, I gotta thank you first of all for sharing, you know, your struggles with us, because I think that's part of the journey for any business out there and stuff, that there is adversity. I think it's great to hear how people are working through it. I think it's unfortunate that you haven't found a good, you know, full on solution, and I can appreciate how difficult it is to feel like your, you know, passion is being threatened. But you know, we're all cheering for you, and I know that your Patreon is supportive of it, and you need to take your breaks when you can. Speaking of breaks and how much, like, what is the average amount of sculpts you've done over the past year? Like, are you trying to do one a month, 2 a month? I'm not sure what your rate currently is. I see them all the time.
I make 5 a month.
You make 5 a month.
5.
I would love to make more, but now I can't. Because I have to take lots of breaks to, you know, do my exercises, so it keeps going and doesn't stay like this. But yeah, there was a time in the past, in 2020, that I have months I made 6, 7, 8
See, I
in
wasn't
1
kidding
month.
when I said prolific, guys. I mean, the guy is just a machine, and it's not.
He just cranks
is
these
not-
things out.
Yeah. This is not
Come on,
junky
Wexter
stuff.
does 5 a month too. Wexter
Wait.
does 5, 6 a month.
Wexter's awesome too, and I hope we can have Wexter on here at some point because I've got a lot of things to say to that guy. But but seriously, it's incredible. And you know, the technology is only getting better, and obviously as we see like better printers and some of the detail that we get on resin. I had a tweet out like earlier in the week where somebody was showing off an 8K and you know, the level of detail, and I don't know that actually even requires 8K. I think that's more to speak to the person that modeled that level of detail. You know, I'm not saying that obviously there's better printers and stuff out there, but you know, when I look at some of not Wexter's stuff, because that's basic, as we all know, but when I look at Fotis' stuff, I love you, Wexter. I'm kidding. When I look at Fotis' stuff, and you see like you can literally see like pores and like stubble and just texturing on fabric and the eye.
So fun. It's so fun to make those. That's why I do them.
It's those.
I know that in FDM it might not see.
Incredible.
You might not see it in FDM, but as you know, resin is a trend for the last couple of years. I mean, before that, we only sculpted or designed for FDM.
Yeah.
And I still did that, you know. It was I just like to do it. I knew it wouldn't show up. But I just want to have the result I want and not considering that this might not, you know, appear. Well, as it turns out, it appears now with resin, right? So
sure. Sure. Well, and the nice thing about that is that you could make some different design choices if you know something's going to be printed for FDM, but the FDM automatically downsamples, you know, what you do. You don't have to worry about that necessarily. And if somebody has a good enough printer to get that detail, that's just, you know, that much more benefit to you. So, man. So speaking of what you like, because I know people probably approach you about, you know, doing commission work and all this stuff. Like I know you have things that you just don't want to do, and you have stuff that you love to do. So talk about what your some of the favorite things, like what gets you excited, and where's your inspiration coming from when you see something like I want to model that.
Okay. Well, I love doing original stuff. I don't do them as much as I want because I know what people prefer to see. Well, some of them like the originals.
Yeah.
But fan art, everybody loves it. They will print it. They will enjoy it. They will make a gift for their children or whatever. So it's always good to make that. But me personally, I would prefer, for example, to make a dragon or a Cthulhu or
something. Cthulhu.
Yeah.
That's on your homepage. I mean, the level of detail, that thing is beautiful and hideous all at the same time.
That's the first thing I sculpted when my daughter was born. I started it in the clinic.
Wow.
That's cool.
Are you able to do this mobile? Like, are you able to just take a laptop somewhere with you?
I had my laptop in the clinic when we're in the same room. We had, you know, a room. And I started, you know, making the base.
Because I imagine just this incredible rig that you must have, and like all, I don't know if you're using like a, you know, touchpad and your mouse and all. It's
what's that hardware look like?
Yeah, what's your setup?
Is it basic or is it?
I can't show it now. Well,
sure.
I use.
Just talk
I can't
about
use a pen. I can't use a pen monitor anymore because it will only make my wrist worse. But I do use a pen, a Wacom tablet, which is right here in front of me. And I have a better stand. You know, my whole hand touches the surface and the desk. It rests the wrist that way.
Sure.
But I use Wacom products definitely because the quality is there. And there are other. Yeah, I had, for example, an XP pen monitor.
Yeah.
Which was nice. It was very nice, but unfortunately, I can't even, you know, use that anymore because of this whole situation. But I also have keyboards. You know, I have I can take it off.
That's all right.
While you're doing that, Bush Bush Wookie had a question, and I mentioned this earlier. How many people are you allowing to be a mint partner? And because right now you have it marked as sold out. Is a reason you limit that, or are you kind of concerned with too many people having
Well,
access to everything?
let me explain that because I have to answer it many times a day. Well,
Here you go.
that thing when sold out. Well, when I started this whole thing, I always told people about the dangers of selling fan art. I told them, you go on Etsy, you sell a Marvel, whatever bust,
Yeah.
but it's not mine to give you permission to sell that thing.
Okay.
I do the whole sculpt from scratch. It's my creation,
Yeah.
but I cannot tell you go ahead and sell Marvel without thinking it twice. I mean, I can't do that. It's very irresponsible of me to do that. So I ask people, I say, do you want to sell my original stuff or you want to sell fan art? Many said that they want to sell my originals, but then they sold fan art anyway, for a long time.
Okay.
And after a while, because I have way too many problems with this thing, I just stopped accepting more people on it. And in the back of my head is to completely kill that tier.
Makes sense.
Because I will just add a new tier that has only my concept, my original concepts in, and tell you, if you want to sell that, okay, do that. But don't tell me to tell you it's okay to sell fan art.
No,
a physical print of fan art, okay? Because some of them, I've even heard people. There are some people out there that they also made molds of them. What's going to happen to you if Disney see you make molds instead make figures? It's very weird. And but then Fotis, why are you such a hypocrite? You make money from it. Well, this is why I do not sell them in stores.
Interesting.
I do it.
There's licensing. There's
possible.
copyright issues for sure.
Yep, copyright licensing. It gets very complicated. I mean, this is something that we should dive into at a later episode. Like all of the license marks, copyright, all of that legal stuff. Super boring, but
maybe not though. I mean, I think this is actually we talk about this, and there's obviously a lot here. We did have an episode prior with Dan from Slice Engineering where we kind of talked about patents and stuff like that. But I think this might be a good opportunity to dig in just a touch.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a chance when I kill this thing, I tell you, well, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, at your own risk.
It's not my responsibility.
Do
whatever you want, but it's not me.
I don't know the legalities of this, and I think it's probably different from country to country too, isn't it? I don't know.
It's actually pretty worldwide.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I mean, yes, yeah. So here's the thing, right? Copyright law gets very complicated, but generally speaking, here in the U.S., it's really enforceable. So if for anyone even just making fan art of something, right, you're technically violating a copyright of whoever owns that licensed character.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're, in a different country or not. If that file makes it over here in any digital media, you're now in violation of U.S. copyright law, and they can come after you, right? Because the internet has connected everything.
So no different than the music fiascos of the 90s and stuff like that.
It's all because of those.
Imagine that I saw one of my models in Alibaba.
Really? Well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but yeah.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, I was like,
but the amount of damage that I can actually do, yeah, and if you don't have control of that, they can come back. They're going to go to the source, right? They're going to go. So that is a major,
it's a dangerous thing. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I will start doing some things. The only things I'm going to change soon is going to be about my more old work, and not only old work, because the whole thing with I'm not going to call it piracy, just going to call it bad behavior. Okay, they jump in me, they jump in Wexer, they jump whatever, they grab whatever they want.
Yeah,
okay, because we give STLs. Once we give an STL, our work doesn't belong to us anymore. It's out there. Okay,
yeah.
But they just go set up pages, sell our models,
Put it on
without,
eBay. Put it. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Etsy
Etsy.
has some bundles with 5,000 models in them,
Oh
and
man.
Etsy does nothing about it. They don't care. I know for a
Yeah.
fact that that they don't care, and they actually changed their whole rules lately to show us that they don't care, because they tell you, "Oh, I'm just the page. Go talk to him, not to us."
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is, well, I'm always trying to speak to them nice. I tell them what you're doing is not right. If you
Mhm.
please stop doing that. And lately I have some answers like, you don't know it. I made it. It's like I told you, Poots, for example, like I told you, this rep box is not yours. I made it yesterday. Okay, like I don't have eyes to recognize my own work. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
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 So what I thought was just to do something that's gonna be a little drastic. You want to throw my work on Telegram, Facebook, whatever. I'm gonna throw it for free
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Whatever I see that gets too much of, I mean, I don't mean if I see one model one time, okay, whatever I see that is super shared and pirated and thrown on Creality Cloud or something, I will personally throw it for free, because if someone wants to throw it for free, it's going to be me,
Yeah.
because I deserve that. Okay, I
Yeah.
earned
Yeah.
that. So
You
this
did.
is something.
Absolutely.
So this is something I will do. I'm not, and of course I'm not speaking about the originals. I'm speaking about the fan art. Fan art is fine to go free. I don't care, but I will start doing that just so they understand that they can do whatever they want. The only way to fight these people is to fight their pockets.
Mhm. Well, you take
That's
away
that,
their
that's me.
source. You take away the source that they're able to, charge, because they have the, this exclusive, sort of, content, and you basically dilute the market and prevent them from being able to claim that, oh yeah, buy it from me.
This is
It's a genius plan. It sucks because, here you're putting your hard work now basically on the chopping block. It's
Well,
like
the thing
literally
is,
severing your arm, but
my patrons already have these models. They supported
sure.
these models. They already printed those. So
And this goes back to
I'm
your whole
at the,
goodwill aspect too, right?
it's
Where you're
yeah.
giving to the community,
right.
right? And you don't
Also,
care
it's
about
not
those
like,
bad eggs.
also the bad thing is that in the end of the day, they're not stealing from me. They're
Mhm.
stealing from my patrons.
Yeah.
They're the
That's a
ones.
really interesting way to
They're
look at
the
it. Yeah.
ones that they support me. They're the ones that give me their nice money. So when some smart guy
It's
comes
nice.
in,
Yeah.
gets everything, and goes and sell those things with those guys' money, they steal from them, not from me.
Yeah.
So whatever, so anything I throw for free from now on, I will just say in the description, made possible by my patrons.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Well, it's the truth, and that's why it pisses me off to see people stealing from anybody. And every time I see theft of other artists, I try to do something myself about that. At least warn the people that
Mhm.
that this thing is happening to them,
Sure.
because it's all very, very. I understand what a hard work it is to make these models take endless hours sculpting a thing, and some guy, because he thinks he can beat the system, he can grab it and just throw it on a page for sale. I mean, how
Yeah.
lazy is that?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people out there that'll do anything to make a buck, and they don't care,
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate. But I think the lesson here, and I love your whole outlook on this, and I wish more people did. It's like you recognize the value of your audience and all this stuff, and that they, unfortunately, tale as old as time, a few bad actors make everybody suffer, and so recognizing and giving credit where credit is due. You are supported by a large Patreon following, and you're very appreciative and you're very giving to that. And it is because of that attitude, I think, that you continue to grow at the rate that you do. And people see the quality of your work and see your commitment to it and see that you stick with it. And they want to support that. You have to believe the vast majority of people out there, even though you never hear from them, believe in what you're doing and appreciate you. And so I'm going to speak for them right now and just say you're awesome, Fotis, and thank you for doing that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I can only imagine how frustrating and challenging it is to constantly see your work out there being taken, and this is a challenge. I mean, unfortunately, it's nothing new. We dealt with DRM issues from the music industry early on, and I still don't feel like we have that really wrapped up. It's almost like a version 2 with this, as we're starting to see these things. And I think a lot of this problem exists too because a lot of people don't have modeling skills, right? Like we've got these tools that we know that if we get the right inputs, we can get this incredible products and
it's a really
things.
Excellent point.
Yeah, but they don't have the ability to do it themselves, and it leads to just getting out there and snatching up, whatever they can. And it leaves Fotis in a weird spot where it's like, well, I guess I can just cut them off at the legs and just give it away for free so that there is no value. But then Fotis isn't getting any value from it either. So I don't envy you, man. That's a tough challenge.
I prefer to give them to the community, honestly, than to let them do whatever they want with them. I really prefer to
let
do
them
that.
win. Yeah.
I really prefer to do that. I used to do that for 2-3 years. I was giving everything, for free. Yeah. So why not? Why allow them to keep doing that? And they're not only doing it to me; they're doing it to everybody. If you go look, if you just do an image search of anyone's models, not mine, anyone's models, you will find it in 15 pages. It's crazy.
Pez Liz brought up a really interesting comment earlier. She said a friend of hers is a Disney lawyer and says as long as it's not an adult material or harmful or unsafe, they're okay with makers. I think I've seen differing accounts on that, especially when it comes to Disney. I don't know if they're okay per se, but I think what she's saying is probably true, that they're going to really target things that are, adult or harmful or unsafe or something like that. But they also reserve the right to take your idea, which
it's the Rocky 3 story. Anyone familiar with Rocky?
Rocky 3? Is that the one where Dolph Lundgren? No, that's 4. Which is the one where...
So Rocky 3 started
with
as
Mr. T.
Oh, Mr. T, right.
Yeah. So Rocky 3 started as, and I just learned this, but Rocky 3 started as some basically fan art or a fan fiction. And this guy wrote the whole story and then sent it to Sylvester Stallone. And he's like, this is really good. I'm going to make a movie. And he made a movie about it and almost like copied the whole thing. And the guy's like, hey, you stole my fan art. It doesn't matter. It was his characters.
Yeah. That's probably the reason he hired Mr. T, right? I pity the fool.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
So copyright. Wow. You can look it up. So copyright, I mean, if you create a character, you own it. Basically, it extends pretty much forever right now, right? And there's there's even new rules and laws that are in play that can make this go even longer, right? And I mean, heck, Mickey Mouse still hasn't reached the public domain yet, and Disney is still fighting to basically bring that back and keep it from reaching public domain. But copyrights, you create the character, someone can write fan fiction, someone can incorporate it, you can design a model, whatever it might be. But the person who originally created it owns all of that. So if they like your model, Fotis, they can take it if it's, of theirs, and they can sell it. Whoever owns the actual original copyright. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just incredible.
But I mean, that feels fair. You don't think that's fair?
It is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
If they come to me and tell me tomorrow, just take everything down, I will take them down and thank them for the inspiration. But you can't do anything. You really don't want to go that road. You don't want to chase.
What's interesting to me is I feel like, and again, I'm a little biased because I'm in the maker world, but it's like I look at this and I'm like, isn't this more in the interest of Disney for there be people out there, because it's promoting that ecosystem? Now I understand that there can be that's a slippery slope, because like Fotis was saying, like it can take one person just making molds and just cranking out stuff that like starts to undercut some massive merch opportunities and stuff like that for Disney.
So the other issue comes in, like, let's say you have copyright, registered trademarks even, right?
Sure.
You probably heard of the company Xerox, right? So Xerox, right?
What is a Xerox? It sounds like one of those old school things that we don't use anymore. No, it's not true. We do.
So here's the thing, like, so with trademarks, even like you have to defend your trademark. And Xerox was so good at marketing that it makes copies, like copiers and printers.
This is fan fiction of your document.
Yeah, well, but basically, so Xerox got so good at turning their copyrighted, trademark material generic that they have to start fighting. And so usually what happens is you have these companies, they will send out lawsuits against their registered trademarks because they have to, because if they don't, they can actually lose it. It becomes genericized. So like you can look up some Xerox lore, if you will. They would run advertisements basically saying, hey, you can't use our name in this way because it, turns it generic. And they would go and they would sue tons of individuals, right? And these are for license marks. But yeah, it gets really crazy. So this is why it's good to foster a community that, has this really creative potential. But you also see, unfortunately, that these companies, if they want to maintain the rights to their copyright or license marks, they have to, fight it and defend it.
So first of all, who doesn't love good Xerox lore? And second of all, I love how excited Andrew gets when we start talking about like legal matters and stuff like that. He definitely has some passions in that. He's not a lawyer, but he knows a ton about this stuff because he's had a lot of firsthand experience.
He always wanted to be one, though. I can see that.
I think he would be very good at it. Honestly, we've had a lot of conversations, and he has a good resource, and he has some good lawyers not on staff, but that he engages on a regular basis. I know. It's a never-ending challenge, and I don't know what the right answer is. I think it's something in between. I think that what Fotis does is incredible. Better than some of the original art that I've seen, and I know that there's a good amount of. I have a friend whose mother was a traditional clay sculptor and ended up getting hired by Disney or contracted by Disney for and Mattel, and she was always freelance, but a very talented woman. And I know that a lot of people get their start and actually get hired by these large companies, like kind of as a result of these things as well. Like if you can't. I don't know if it's a can't beat 'em, join 'em thing. It was a totally different time, and it wasn't like Disney was ever under threat of like this woman's models like getting out there in mass the same way that they are now. But I think that there's opportunity, and I think that people that are respectful, like Fotis, and recognize, that we're built on. I say it a lot. We're built on the shoulders of giants. That your models wouldn't have the power that they do were it not for the fact that they're relatable. This is the classic cover band conundrum, right? It's like a cover band goes out and people just want to hear them play the songs that they know, right? But then the cover band wants to do some original stuff, and people are like, I don't want to hear the original music, right? You're like, we want what's familiar. Does that seem like so?
I'm a Metallica fan, right?
What do you mean I'm not a Metallica? Of course I'm a Metallica fan. I know you are okay. I thought you said you're not a Metallica fan.
This is what they did.
How dare you, sir?
This is what they did.
Yeah.
This is what they did when they were, in 81 or something.
Notorious, right?
They wanted them to go to Europe for the tour. And they went there, not for the tour, for the concert. And they told him, you have to play your songs. And they went there, they played them, and they were all covers. Because nobody knew them in Europe. They didn't know the songs, so they just lied. They played cover songs.
They were just doing ABBA. Like, what were they playing? What were they playing?
This is what they did. I mean, even Metallica done that.
I would love to hear Metallica play ABBA.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man! As always, we've covered a lot of ground. We're starting to go past the hour. I want to be respectful of Fotis' time because he's got to get back to the cave and model because he's short on
I'm in the
models.
cave.
He's got to get back to work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta make that Fotis. He's going after that nice Patreon money. So we gotta allow him to produce.
Yeah.
My friend, we're going to have you back at some point because I love talking about this stuff. And obviously, like, I don't feel like we got too deep into the nuts and bolts of like your business, like, because maybe that's a good wrapping thing as we close up. If anybody, first of all, last call, if you want to hit us with any questions in the chat, that's fine. If you're brave enough, we would take one call too. If anybody wants to jump in, there is a link above for that.
Of course, I want to hear people that tell me you suck.
Are you okay? No, nobody's gonna tell you you suck, man. Calm down. you don't suck. Anybody that tells you that you sucks themselves. It's
Yeah.
You're a hypocrite. You're living in a glass house. Just to talk about, because this is a somewhat business centric podcast, and we've been kind of geeking out on the art side of stuff, which is great. But talk a moment for us, if you will, about probably the less glamorous part of what you do, because you do have to do the accounting, you do have to do your, there is a financial aspect. You recognize that, yes, it's great that you have this big Patreon, but you do not have any other a full-time job. This is what supports you and your family, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
the last 3 years, yeah.
You take that very seriously. Do you have help with that stuff? Are you still doing it? Is it a burden to you? Is it pretty easy? Like, I don't know anything about how Patreon. Do they just cut you a check, or do you have to do? Are there tax implications? Tell us about what you have to have.
I have a company now. I pay huge taxes. If you decide to do that as you should, you will pay big amount of the money you make to the tax guy. But also, it's not only that. We have, Wexter knows that. Are you still here? We have lots of expenses for software, for hardware, for I forgot. I even forgot. We're finishing, and I forget to say that one of the best things I did this year was to have in my team now Charo Zuck, who makes my custom supports.
Oh, Charo.
Oh,
shout out to Charo.
And he does some unbelievably good support structures, and he prints for me. He takes, he does the photography for every new release I do,
which is so critical. And the quality of that is what just sells a lot of it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, look at that detail. Very important partner to have in that.
Yeah, and this is all these things. You have to work after you do that. You have to leave the hobby area. You leave the hobby area anymore, so you have way more expenses than I had. My first years when I didn't even have a company yet. I was just grabbing some cash and PayPal. Well, all good, and that's it.
Right.
But now you have lots of expenses. You need accountants. You need all the things the company need. Yeah, you definitely do.
Well, I'm assuming for you as well, your physical therapy, right? Just to maintain your level of efforts now.
You don't want to know how much I pay for that every month.
Yeah, I'm sure it gets up there.
Yeah. It's very expensive to keep it like that.
We have a caller. You feeling up for taking a call? Andrew Smith is on the line, on the hotline. I'm gonna patch him in right now. Andrew, good morning. Welcome. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in. You're live with Pooch and Andrew and Fotis Mint, the prolific Fotis Mint. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Fantastic. Beautiful Friday as always. What can we do for you? You got a question, comment?
So I got a question.
Okay.
My biggest issue with ever thinking about 3D modeling is what the heck to create. So Fotis, what is your inspiration for the models that you put out each month? Or do you have like this endless list that you just don't have time for?
It's a great question.
It's a good question. Well, I will tell you that my Discord has a suggestions channel. I do lots of suggestions by my patrons. They usually suggest very cool things, and if I also enjoy them, I will make them. But other than that, you get inspired by just watching an old movie, by having a weird idea with your original stuff, or there are so many things to make, because for a long time there were months that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that. There are things that you wanted to do for months and you just forgot about them, and you go back to them. So that way it doesn't stop. You just keep bringing up new stuff, especially for me, that I go back around to the 80s and 90s and do from movies and gaming. It's endless. I have endless possibilities for content. So, but what I don't understand is how people like Clockspring, for example, do what he does. That if you can help me, if you can tell me how these people does those things, those I can't even imagine how they do these things. For us, it's much easier to think of things to make.
Yeah. Do you keep a list yourself, or do you just kind of look in the Discord? I mean, you've been doing it long enough now where it seems like you probably have a good back catalog of ideas. It's probably harder for somebody getting a start, but
I don't have a list.
No, you just kind of whatever pops into your head. Okay.
Do you?
I mean, around the end of the month, this month, because 25th, I will decide what to make next month.
Okay, so you will plan it out ahead of time to some extent.
Yeah, because I will have to announce it. So if people doesn't like what I do next month, so they can go away.
That's interesting.
Very clear. I like to be very clear on what I make next month. I don't want to be, ooh, surprise. Next month you'll already paid and you didn't like anything.
That's an interesting value. I didn't know that. I
have to be clear and fair with the people. This is what I'm going to do.
You don't have to be. You choose to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have to, because it's good people to know ahead what they will get next month, so they decide if they want to stay or go away. They might want to go away and support some other artist. Why stick with me?
Because you're one of the nicest people ever. That's why.
Yeah. Damn it! Why are you being so nice? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I do have a question. So do you ever get into the middle of a design and then realize hey, you're not really feeling it, or there's something where you just not right, and you kind of put that on the back burner and you transition? Do you have a list of, or even just doing quick sketches or something real quick, that you can go back to on a later date?
I remember I answered that on Prusa Live.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
What I do is if it's not like, if you start something and you're not feeling it, it doesn't come the way you want it. What I do is, pause it. I just pause it to put it to the side. I go to the next one. I'll go to the next one, which usually will go perfect for some reason. and then when I finish that, I go back to the one I left in half with a fresh brain and eye.
Sure.
To continue. Many times, though, you have to get rid of this one again, delete it, and start over, because you really messed it up the first time.
That's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
because I feel like
sunk cost fallacy, right? You put this time into it, and you're like, why do I want to get rid of it?
Well,
yeah.
But you're spot on. A lot of times you just have to let ideas breathe for a bit. You just got to let it kind of sit and marinate, and then analyze what it is that you feel like was missing or you want to add, and inspiration just comes in weird ways. I've always had that tendency where I feel like I'm just banging my head against the wall. I'm like, no, I got to get this thing done. I got this, and I know that I would have done way better to just pause and come back to it. But it's a challenge that I constantly struggle with. Anyway. That's an aside. Andrew, I want to thank you for calling in. I appreciate the question, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you, Andrew.
Man, I love that the community wants to be involved in the conversation and stuff like this, and that just tickles me. Fotis, and honestly, there's a million other Andrews out there that they're not lying when they say you're an awesome dude, they want to support you. Your point about actually like feeling obligated to let people know what's coming up on the Fotis Mint channel. Like that's very unique. I don't know. You tell me, because you see more people in the city.
No. That's not true.
Is it?
I see the miniature pages even let you vote.
Okay. Okay.
I don't let vote. I'm a bad person.
You're a benevolent despot, as they say, you know?
Yeah.
No,
this is what it's going to be. You're going to listen to me.
Yeah. You don't know what you want. I'm going to tell you what you want, and I'm going to give it to you. I think that there's a lot of value there. I didn't realize if a lot of people do that or not. I don't think we have a good sample size to determine, but I love your outlook that it's like, hey, look, I don't want to take away from if people have a limited amount of funds that they want to contribute toward Patreon on a monthly basis, like if they're not feeling it with the stuff I'm going to be releasing, like why not give them the opportunity to go somewhere else? And that's just makes you that much more lovable, and we all hate you for it, you jerk. You're like, why you got to be so lovable all the time?
By the way, saying that about the money thing, there are countries right now in the planet where $5 is a lot of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to consider that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see any $5 tiers anymore in Patreon. I really don't. And because if you also consider the VAT, the PayPal fees, everything from that $5, there's not a lot of money left, But I had people from countries I don't want to name right now that said that I'm glad that I can't pay for it because they can't pay the $10 tier. Wow. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
If they take $100 a month, it's 1/10 of their salary for Patreon pays.
Wow. Do people ever reach out to you and be like, I really want to be able to get on, but I just it's a lot of money where I am. Do you have any discretion in that regard? Like, are you able to
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. And I can tell if something is honest. Well, if they tricked me, joke is on them. Yeah. But I have given,
because you send them a virus along with it or something.
Well, no, because they're bad people in general.
Sure. It'll come back to them at some point. Sure.
I sent them a model. It doesn't hurt me to give a model away. I mean,
right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris Perillo says you're his favorite mint over all the mint, over spearmint, over peppermint, and Fotis mint. Fotis mint is his favorite.
And he is my favorite Perillo for sure.
Yeah. Same. Fotis, thank you, my friend, for joining us. Like I said, we could talk forever. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your honesty on everything and your willingness to talk candidly. And we just love your outlook, and we wish you the best with your following. You guys, if you don't know who this is, you really need to go check out his Patreon page. Even if you decide you don't want to support it and stuff like that, he's very active on Twitter. I think he's got. Are you big on Instagram and other socials as well, Fotis? What else? Where else can they find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, My Mini Factory.
Yep.
That's about it. I don't do Facebook. I hate Facebook. Scratch Facebook.
Okay, he hates Facebook, everybody, but Instagram, a lot of good photos of his stuff. Go check it out. And My Mini Factory is another way they can support you as well, because you can buy models on there from you as well if you don't want to do the monthly.
Yeah, you can buy my original models there. I mean, if you just want one, you can buy one. You don't have to join my Patreon. It's fine. And
so you post
a lot of
you post to
free
both
ones there.
Yeah.
You have lots of free old ones.
Okay, and do you post everything to both, or is some stuff only exclusive to Patreon?
Fan art is sold in Patreon.
Okay.
I do not sell it in My Mini Factory.
Yeah, no, you mentioned that.
It's only for Patreons.
Only for Patreon. Got it. Awesome. My friend, have a fantastic weekend. I hope you get some relaxation time, rest your arm, heal up, enjoy time with your family, your wonderful daughter and whatnot. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Everybody in the chat that's with us, like I said, we record, if you're listening back, 9 a.m. every Friday on YouTube. There's a link in the show notes for that. So feel free to come and join us if you want to do a call-in or comment in the chat. We always welcome that. And I'm going to tease really quick. Next week's going to be interesting because Andrew and I are both out of town. We're going to the Rapid conference in Detroit. Shout out Rapid. Very excited for that. This is like the first show I've been to since COVID. And so excited, a little anxious about it. But
Wish I could come to Earth.
I was going to ask you that. You have any plans to travel any time in the near future, Fotis?
I would definitely love to come to the States. Love it, but it's not an easy trip.
It's not an easy trip,
it's-
but if you come, I will
Yeah.
host you, my friend. Come, and you're welcome to stay. I've got a nice hammock in the backyard that it doesn't snow too much, and so you'll be fine.
I will
We'll
be
get-
next to the dog, right?
the dog will be in the hammock above you, so you get the.
At least
This is
can
the
I
dog
have the
hammock.
dog biscuits, please? At least the dog biscuits.
We'll get extra biscuits for you. Don't worry, Fotis. No, seriously though, I would be honored to host you if you ever do make it stateside, and I hope that we can make that happen soon. But again, to tease next week, we will be doing a show. We're gonna have Stefan from CNC Kitchen on that one, and that's gonna be a
nice.
fantastic episode because. He's one of our fellow content creators that's kind of making the leap into product now, and one of the a few to be adopted by the Prusa shop as well. So you can find some of his stuff now on Prusa shop, which is fantastic as well, and other places. And so we're going to talk to him about what he's learned. The challenges are from going from kind of content creator to product sales and production and stuff like that. So please tune in for that if you can. We love getting your questions and comments. As always, tweet at us. I'm at Repkord. Andrew is at 3D Gloop. Send Fotis some love at Fotis Mint. And we will catch you guys. Kisses to everybody. We will catch you guys on the next one. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. See you later. And we're clear.